Are you searching for that right drugstore makeup product that will work for your skin? Hey, Dr. Will Kim, dermatology resident here. Today I'm going to be doing a really fun going out look to dinner for restaurant week with my friends using only drugstore makeup products. So if that sounds interesting to you, come follow along. The first step of our makeup look today is going to be primer, and the primer I'm going to be using is the e.l.f. Power Grip Primer with 4% niacinamide. This one is a really good primer. I'm primarily applying this to areas where I tend to get oily, and I know my makeup is just going to be a little bit more prone to crease and slide. By doing this step, it's going to help my makeup be more long-lasting. Today, I actually waited an hour in between my skincare and my makeup. It's a weekend, it's a Saturday today, and I'm so excited for this restaurant week dinner tonight with some of my dermatology resident friends. It's gonna be so good to catch up and get to enjoy noodles, which is what we're gonna be eating tonight. Okay, for foundation today, I'm gonna be using the Maybelline Super Stay Skin Tint. This has vitamin C in it as well, and it's such an amazing drugstore foundation. I usually will wear this skin tint on work days where I really need my makeup to be long-lasting because it's going to be a long clinic day. This product, if I set it correctly, really does last a long time for me. I primarily use the shade 120, but I like to mix in a little bit of shade 220 in here. This is 120, and then I will go ahead and put a little bit of 220, just a tiny drop on top like that. To this, I add a little bit of my Prequel half and half milky fluid moisturizer, about this much. Next, I'm gonna take a clean brush, this angled flat foundation brush, and then I'm just gonna mix everything on the back of my hand and start to apply nice thin light layers. I had a really excellent viewer question earlier this week where a viewer had asked me, what do I recommend? Or if I thought that different foundation application techniques could potentially disturb the sunscreen underneath. I responded to the viewer with my initial thoughts, which I'll share with you all too, but also that I really do just need some time to think about this because it was such a good question. And the way they framed it was the cushion puff method versus a stippling brush versus a different type of foundation brush or a beauty blender. I'm gonna grab a clean cushion puff, this one, and I'm going to start tapping this out. So my initial thoughts to that question were that as long as you're tapping more gently, which I do have a habit of tapping a little bit aggressively sometimes, but I think as long as you're tapping more gently and pressing product on top of sunscreen that has formed that layer and really settled down, then I think that the makeup, for the most part, the physical application process won't disturb it, like this cushion puff or even using a stippling brush or a foundation brush to slightly press it on. I do think you can run into some trouble is with some beauty blenders, especially if it's a little bit too wet and not really just damp. If it's really wet, that beauty blender, I think that water and the beauty blender will mix with the foundation and it could disturb also that underlying sunscreen layer that you have on. One of the keys that I try to do to make sure that I'm not disturbing that sunscreen film that had formed underneath is to really let my sunscreen layer dry about 10 minutes before I go in with my makeup application. On a day like today, I'm really lucky in that it's a weekend, and so I was even able to wait a full hour, so I'm not worried about my sunscreen underneath getting messed up. But I think it's a lot harder in the weekday mornings. So generally on weekday mornings, I can wait maybe 5 minutes before I go in with my makeup on top. But I think that if you're really concerned and want to get the max benefit, then I think you just have to be really careful with how you apply your makeup on top. The subsequent question they had asked me was if the foundation is made of water, and let's say the sunscreen is more of a dimethicone sunscreen or an oil-based sunscreen, then will those two products interact and then cause the sunscreen layer to no longer be effective? I think that's a really good question, and I want to spend more time thinking about it and also doing some more research on my own before I fully answer it. But my initial thoughts are, if you're seeing a lot of pilling in your products throughout the day, especially after you've applied your makeup, where without the makeup it was fine, but after applying makeup everything is starting to pill, that could be that different products that you're using just aren't interacting well together. They might be repelling each other too. Water and oil can repel each other, and so in that event you may want to not use those products together. And I think the difficult part is we just don't have that much research in this area. A lot of, I think the recommendations are going to be more just based off of logical reasoning, common sense, and also anecdotal experience. I think those three things together are going to be what we use to then decide what to do. But really great question, and I'm definitely going to think more about it. But I would say my three takeaways are: number one, let your sunscreen fully dry down before you go in with your foundation. Number two, use gentle tapping motions for the most part to apply your foundation instead of really really aggressive buffing motions or going back and forth really aggressively, because I do think that could potentially disrupt the sunscreen underneath, just that physical motion. And then number 3, if you're seeing a lot of pilling in your products throughout the day, probably an indicator that different ingredients aren't meshing well together, and as products pill, it can cause that sunscreen layer to come off. I would say those are my 3 key takeaways today. I also wonder if you're using a primer that works for the products you're using, if that is almost acting like a barrier between the makeup and the sunscreen to prevent some of that pill-in, but I'm not sure. I need to think more about this and do a little bit more research. Just me thinking out loud. I know things are so expensive these days and wages just haven't kept up with the growth of inflation, and makeup products are continuing to get more expensive, as is everything. I want to let you know that there are amazing products in the drugstore as well. Like this foundation by Maybelline is chef's kiss. As I'm applying it right now, I haven't used it in a while now. I think it's been like at least a month to use this foundation because I've been using different ones. I knew that this is one of my favorite foundations at my favorite drugstore, but applying it right now, it's just so beautiful on the skin. It's so comparable to some of the other high-end foundations I use, and it's beautiful. I would say overall, for the most part, I've had better results as a whole with more luxury foundations, but this one by Maybelline, if you like hit it in a bottle and had blind testing, I would bet my money that many people would think that this is a high-end foundation because it is just so beautiful. I will say it dries down fast though. You have to work with it a little bit more quickly than other foundations. But I also think that lends itself to maybe why it's a little bit more long-lasting, especially for skin tint. This is such a beautiful no makeup type of foundation. But because we are going out tonight to a dinner, anything that's left, I'm gonna go over just one extra thin layer. And for any friends who do need extra coverage from their foundation specifically, this is what I would recommend, where you apply more thin light layers to build up to that level of coverage that you need. That will allow the makeup to still look really natural while still providing you that coverage. This past week was a really busy week at work for me, but it was still so much fun and I learned so much. I'm at Children's Hospital right now. I'm getting to see patients in the outpatient space, but also I'm covering the dermatology consult service hospital right now. And so getting to take care of our patients in both settings has been such a privilege. It's been really difficult some days this week where it was a little bit busier, but I think it's been so much fun getting to learn and getting to do this makeup right now and film for you guys. It's so therapeutic for me. This foundation is almost perfect. I will say the second layer I went in with on my forehead, I am seeing the lines from that flat foundation brush I had used. It just dried fast. I think what I'm gonna do is just take a little bit of this prequel, put it on the back of my hand just a tiny bit, like this much. Grab the tip of my cushion puff where it's a little bit more pointed, and then just a tiny amount on my cushion puff, not a lot. And I'm just hitting the area where I see almost like that paintbrush mark to see if I can almost soften it and lift it up just a tiny bit. For the most part, that fixed it. There is one area of patchiness right here, but looks amazing, especially here on my cheeks. This all looks so good. Tiny patchiness, I'm okay with it. The concealer I'm gonna show you guys is the NYX Bare With Me Concealer Serum. The shade I use is Vanilla 3. It's a little bit too light for me, and I will say this concealer is not my favorite. I did try the Maybelline concealer that's really popular. It's the Age Rewind, or the one that has a little like circular sponge at the tip. It didn't work for me. I might have just not been using it correctly, but this one, I only need the tiniest bit, and I'm gonna grab a really small flat brush like this one and dip into that concealer and then apply it where I need it. Just take my same cushion puff and start blending all of this concealer out. Let's go ahead and set this base makeup, and I'm gonna be using the Loreal Blur-Fection in pink. I bought this from CVS, and these stickers are so hard to get off from CVS, so if you guys have any tips, I might just need to use an adhesive remover to remove it, but I haven't been able to remove that. What I'm gonna do is grab a little bit of that powder, swirl, tap off the excess, This is a pretty new powder to me, and at the recommendation of Trish, one of my viewers here on this channel, and so thank you so much, Trish. This powder has been really good. I've used it a few times now, and I typically do use it as my setting powder for my base makeup. And I will show you guys a different drugstore powder that I'm gonna use later for my finishing powder. But this one's really light. I like the pink color. It's really natural too. Just gives a nice little brightening effect without being too pink. Beautiful. Okay, so we're all done with that step. And then next we're gonna move on into bronzing and contouring. I'm still looking for a good contour from the drugstore. I use Maybelline Lifter Stix. I usually mix this shade with a different shade for my foundation when I use it. But today I'm gonna be using this as a cream contour before I go in with my bronzing powder at the end. I'm gonna use this Jessup Mauve 4 brush, pretty fluffy. I'm gonna go right into my palm and kind of use the brush to the palm to get the product. And then I'm gonna go in at my forehead. A little bit more right here. And then I'm gonna grab a smaller brush like the Sigma E40 tapered brush. And then for this one, I'm gonna go straight into here. Get it nice and evenly coated, and then this will be my contour. The shade is a little bit too light to be my regular contour shade, but today I'm just doing it to make it work. Okay, so we're all done with that step. Next is gonna be using this Milani bronzer in Sunlight 1. I'm gonna grab this Sigma F10 powder brush, swirl, whoop, tap off that excess, and then just very lightly press some of this powder in to set that very light contour that I did today. So this one is more technically a bronze, but also too light for me, but we're still gonna use it and make it work. Jessup 9, small brush, same bronzer. That's just gonna help lock in our cream product that we had just used and help it not move and budge throughout my dinner tonight. This is my base right now. I'm really happy with how the base looks. Even that little foundation brush that you could see earlier, it has been now covered up with the concealer I put on top. Next, we're gonna move on into blush, and blush today is gonna be this e.l.f. blush, Dusty Rose. It's been a while since I used this. I really do like it. It's beautiful. This was supposed to be a dupe of the Selena Gomez one, the Rare Beauty one, but I haven't used that blush yet myself, so I can't really speak to that. So I'm gonna grab this BK Beauty brush and dip into here, get it evenly coated onto my brush. This one's pretty strong, yeah, from what I remember. So I'm just doing extra blending to try to make it more natural. And then I'm gonna start going in. Wow, I'm loving this blush application today. I'm gonna take this Milani powder blush Romantic Rose. Their baked blushes are their typical popular product. I don't know if this one is baked. I'm gonna take this same Jessup 09 brush I had used. This powder is to lock it in and give a little bit more color too. I really like this blush look so far. I do want to draw on little freckles, but I'll wait until the end to do that. I'm going to now move on into my eyeshadow. I'm gonna use this e.l.f. Kneaded Nude. These are really great palettes. They're affordable, a lot of different colors too. I do have my bronzer on my eyes already, but because it is nighttime, I think I'm gonna go in for this brown shade right here and use this as the lower crease right here. Same brown color. I'm going to use this champagne color for the middle part of my eye, or the inner. I'm gonna take my finger and grab this champagne one right here. Go right in the middle. Blend. Grab a little brush like this, just at 14-1, and blend out some of those edges. Clean brush. Oh, love this. I'm gonna keep it really light today. I am gonna use this L'Oreal Lumi Le Glace highlighter stick as my inner eye corner, and also to highlight different parts of my skin. Grab a pretty small brush like this one. For the rest of the highlighter, I'll use my finger. L'Oreal brow lamination today, just to brush up my brow hairs. I'm not gonna even fill in my brows today. We're gonna now move on into our lips, and I'm gonna keep it really simple. I'm gonna use the e.l.f. lip liner in mauve today to line my lips. I'm gonna use that little highlighter brush. Two products I'm gonna use today. I'm gonna first go ahead with this Burt Bees Rose as the base color. This is just a tinted chapstick. Finger. And then I'm going to use this Burt's Bees Fig in the Lip Shimmer to give it that little nice sparkle. This is just going to go right in the center of my lips. Finger. Natural, but definitely has enhanced that color of my lips and brought it out. I think now we're ready to use my setting spray and then my finishing powder. I'm going to be using this Milani Make It Last setting spray today. Shake it up. Okay, so I'm so happy with this look. I am gonna grab a little bit more of that Lumi highlighter and just highlight the top of my Cupid's bow. Let's use our finishing powder to finish this makeup look. I'll be using the Maybelline Loose Fit Me shade Light, which is 15. I'm just gonna use that same exact brush I had used, that BK Beauty brush. I had used this earlier for my setting powder. Top off the excess. I am very oily, so I'm okay with using a little bit more powder, but if you're really dry and you want to be more judicious with your powder use, just so you don't get that cracky makeup, that can happen if you use too much powder. And of course, too much powder makes a cakey look. I've been using powder the longest out of any makeup product now. I would say I feel comfortable for the most part using powder. I still make mistakes, but I feel comfortable in knowing how far I can push how much powder I use. I'm not going to dinner right away. I'm going in about an hour and a half, so I know my natural oils are going to start to peek through a little bit more, so really happy with how this makeup looks right now. Okay, you guys, I'm almost ready for the final look. Just grabbed my Judy Doll Slim Liquid Eyeliner. I guess technically this is a Korean makeup product, so this is the only one I think today I used that wasn't Drugstore from the US. I'm gonna go over any of the little freckles I had drawn with a little powder to set it. Okay, you guys, so here's my final look for today. Thank you so much for watching. I had so much fun making this makeup look for you all before I go to restaurant week with my friends. And if you like this video, give it a like, subscribe, and leave a comment down below what you thought. And until next time, bye!